Hey everybody, welcome back live at Drew's house. Another edition. Hope you're all doing well as we enter spring. Weather's warming up. That's a good thing. And my guest is somebody that we haven't had in studio in a while. We've had him on virtually, but he's a longtime friend of the show. And I've missed him. Richie Eaton, how are you, man?
Very good, Drew. It's good to see you again in person.
I know, it is nice. The pandemic.
Live and in color.
I know, right? You have great color. You got that Florida tan going a little bit.
Yeah, it was pretty good to us. We had too much sun this year, I think.
That's right. You go down to Fort Myers for a few months, right?
Yeah.
You and the Red Sox.
Yeah.
What did you do to the Red Sox down there? They weren't ready, apparently.
Well, the funny thing was, I don't know if you remember the story, but the Red Sox started out spring training 6-0.
I don't
And
remember
all of a
that.
sudden,
Okay.
there was an article in the Globe. I don't know if it was Bob Ryan who wrote it. Says, don't they realize they're not supposed to win during spring training? And just right after that, they lost like 7 out of the next 8.
Is that
and
right?
they continuously lost. So they got to retract the article about losing, and maybe they'll start winning again. But I read they were 6-0. He said they're not supposed to win during spring training. And a couple of managers always said that, play 500 ball in spring training, and you're all right, but you're not supposed to win.
So you blame Bob Ryan?
Well, I don't know if it was Bob. It was one of the guys in the Globe, but I don't know
Okay.
who the article was written by.
Okay.
But it was definitely a Globe writer, and right after that, they went downhill.
All right, man. So how does the spring training take? You usually do a few games down there, right?
I have season tickets.
Yeah.
So I get to them this year because
Do you literally get to all of them? Did you get to all the games?
Oh
down
yeah,
there?
and I go to the games when they play at Minnesota too, because it's right down the
Yeah.
road. We used to go some of the way to Sarasota and Bradenton, Port Charlotte, but it's most of the teams not sending the regulars anymore.
Yeah.
I like to see the kids, but to drive a couple hours both ways, so I don't bother. But we had season this year because they canceled the schedule. So then they replaced it with 10 games. Well, by the time they rescheduled, I already had a conflict with 4 of them, so I only saw 6 games.
All right.
And I'll tell you, the heat was so bad there.
Yeah.
I bet I saw less than 20 innings.
Wow.
I left the first game at the bottom of the second inning. It was hot. I mean, we set some records down there this year. But between Port Charlotte, Cape Coral, and Fort Myers, 47 days they set records for high temperatures.
Wow.
And we had 12 days in a row over 90 degrees.
Man.
And we had no rain.
Are you guys always back for May?
Yeah. We usually get back the middle of April, but now we've extended to the end of April.
Okay.
And start the beginning of January. Now,
Little
my wife
longer.
keeps adding every time she keeps adding an extra week.
It is. Does it get kind of nice there at the end of the Florida? Because I mean, I imagine the restaurants get a little quieter. Some people start.
Yeah, usually after spring training, it loosens up. It's not as crowded. Yeah.
Okay.
You could almost like a ghost town, but it's no longer a ghost town. I'll tell you, Fort Myers is very busy now.
Yeah.
A lot of construction going on, but it's just a nice area. Play some golf, of course. And,
There you go. How
nice
you hitting
golf
them?
courses. Not as good as I'd like. The older we get, the shorter the drives go. And I'll tell you, hit it more often. But as long as it stays in the fairway, I'm happy with that.
Great game.
Yeah.
Love the golf. I haven't been out too much here this year, but I was feeling okay the first time I went out. So it doesn't take much for me to get the bug.
Our league starts this Friday, so we play
Okay.
at New Meadows on Fridays.
Oh, nice.
So we'll
It's,
play on there.
Topsfield or
Topsfield, yeah.
Yeah, that's a 9-hole track, right?
Right, that's just enough.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
enough. Yeah, they used to be good to a lot of the high school teams when we were because
Yeah.
I grew up in Danvers. So.
Yeah. St. John's, I think, uses that course.
Do they? I
I
didn't
think so.
even-
I've seen them over there. At least they're practicing over there.
Yeah.
And Newburyport used to. I don't know if Newburyport still does or not. I think they do, but Newburyport has used it.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. I was talking with Kyle Hodson the other day. We have to get Newburyport the extra tennis courts. I was telling him because I'm a tennis guy, and that tennis matches are 5 matches, 3 singles and 2
it's tough
doubles,
work.
and they only have the 4. I'm saying, Kyle, what are you
Yeah.
doing? He goes, I know. It's been a thing for a long time.
Yeah. And I think they're both still undefeated, aren't they? Both boys and girls are both
Are
undefeated.
they?
I think so in tennis.
That's so great because the boys. Remember, just a few years ago, I guess probably when we started this version of the show, they didn't even have enough to fill a boys'
Right.
team.
Yeah, now I think they're undefeated, or they were up to a week ago, and I think the girls have been playing well.
What a
It's
great
been-
story
I
that
tell you,
is.
This last 2 years for the high school varsity sports have done well.
Yeah.
Almost all of them.
No doubt. Weird hockey years, I know, with the pandemic and everything.
Oh, yeah.
It must have been strange.
It was tough, because now, especially when I'm down in Florida, I miss the basketball and hockey games.
Yeah.
But I try to pick them up, and my son Pat usually gives me the information what's going on. I follow it as much as I can.
Is that how you stay in touch?
Yeah. He's always updating me as well because he follows it. He get on that Mass Sports or something that follows a lot of them that way. But he keeps on top of the high school stuff for me if I miss it. And if I do see it, I'll be told. Sometimes I think I've already seen it, but I don't say I already knew it because I want him to continue to do it.
I was thinking about you a lot during the pandemic, just because with fans not being allowed to go to games, and I'm not sure if you got to get in.
We couldn't go to games either.
I wonder. I mean, that must have been so different for you because your love has never died of like the high school
still love
sports.
it.
I mean, you eat it up.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because of the system they have at the high school now. We couldn't do live games the games while it was going on with that new system, their photo system. So I went to the football game this year. And the first game of the year, I sat.
You used to call the games
in the press box.
Yeah.
So I'm on the opposite side of the field. They're watching the game. A couple of parents come up and say, "What are you doing here? You're supposed to be in the press box." I said, "Yeah, long story." But I just sat there and enjoyed it. And for the first time in 42 years, I could actually root as a fan for the high school. Because you couldn't, I try to be as impartial as possible. And out there cheering and everything. It felt good, but I still missed it. Missed it. And we're working on something with Sarah right now to see if we can do something this year with at least on a partial schedule for the football.
Yeah.
And then basketball and hockey, we're working with that as well. So,
how many sports have you called of Newburyport? Just play-by-play in some regard.
I've done football, basketball, both boys and girls. I've done hockey, both boys and girls now. We've done track, which is a horror show. We only did about 2 track meets, and we stopped that. One track meet we did, Bunky Royan was our cameraman, and he's doing one thing, and all of a sudden, the javelin goes over his head. Then he's doing the triple jump, or whatever they call a long jump, and he has his thump. Well, it was a shot put landed right next to him.
Oh, my goodness.
So we did one game. It was just too hard. Do you talk about tennis? We tried doing tennis. We couldn't do that. We had 3. I think then it was only 3 matches going on.
Yeah. For TV or radio back then?
No, this is all TV.
All TV, yeah.
And we tried doing it for TV, and you couldn't see. You didn't know what the score was because you got the guys playing against each other. No scoreboard.
Yeah.
So we tried that. We gave that up. But we've done field hockey, lacrosse. Pretty much all the baseball. I've done baseball and softball.
Yeah.
So I've done, and most of them were TV. But then later on a while we started doing radio with WMBP.
Yep.
Then we did both radio and TV, joint thing where we do the game on radio and TV at the same time.
Yeah. What's that? Because not every community has somebody like you fighting for those kids to get on the local TV and the local access and stuff. It's a great thing.
Well, I enjoy doing it, and my idea is when I try to be as impartial as possible. And I'll never forget this story. Maybe I've told this before. When Dick Bazigan, his son, played for Triton, so he came in me at the office of the bank on one Friday and says, "Well, I suppose all I'm going to hear is Newburyport this, Newburyport that, blah blah blah." Well, on that Monday, he knocks on my door, comes in, bows down, and says, I apologize. He says, when my son scored the touchdown that tied the game, you were just as excited for him as you were for Newburyport. So I don't think you're a homer. I think you're very impartial. So
you're a homer who was faking it, right?
Yeah. Well, I look at they're only kids. They're not pros. So I always accentuate the positives. When I do recaps, I don't really mention, I'll say, well, the Clippers fumbled instead of saying who fumbled. But if a kid made an interception, I might say Jones intercepted or something. I'll give the credits there. And that was the idea. It was just to make it as positive so that they can enjoy it and maybe they can get some credit, use the films. I know a bunch of them have taken the films and went in for interviews and stuff because some college position out of it,
Yeah, no,
what school it was, I don't know.
But you do forget that sometimes, some of these kids do seem like young men, and they are, but it's high school kids. It's still fragile personalities.
So I always, again, try to be positive, and it's worked out for both ways.
Yeah. I remember one of the college broadcasters I remember back in the day told me high school is one thing. Once you get to college, it's fair game. Call it like you see it. But high school kids are different. So that's.
I remember one time it was funny. I did a game over at Triton, a hockey game, Newburyport Triton. Mm-hmm. And then the next night I did a basketball game over at Triton. So I was talking to this one kid afterwards during the basketball at halftime, and he's from Triton. And I said, geez, that was quite a hockey game the other night. He said, yeah, it was good. I said, boy, what a game Iwanowitz had. And he kind of smiles. He says, that's me. I said, see, you don't have a number on your back, so I didn't know who you were. Every day, the rest of the year, every game I was over, he always came and said, hi, Mr. Eaton, how are you? And
that's sweet.
So we became good friendly. But it was so funny. I said, Iwanowitz. He said, well, that's me. And I just said, well, you don't have a number on your back, so I don't know who you are.
That is funny. That's the one of the great things about doing it, too, is like the kids that will come up to you later in life. Because, I mean, I have some of the hockey guys that will still stop me, like, out of nowhere. And, you don't really know them that well. You call in their games, but maybe they appreciated how you called a goal or something you said nice about them. And, like, for whatever reason, when you're a high school kid, that stuff sticks with you.
Yeah.
It leaves an imprint on you.
I was at Friendly's, and the same thing happened. The kid was working there. Says, are you Richie Eaton? I said, yeah. He said, I recognize the voice. I'm the goalie. I said, I didn't realize who it was, because most of the kids you see when they're masked, you don't get a chance to see them in normal clothing and everything else. But it's good, and I enjoy it. And people come up to me, they recognize the voice. And they say, you the guy that does it?
Well, at this point, everybody must know you here, right? I mean,
I
don't think
that's true, but I mean, the voice is what really.
Yeah.
Because when we're doing games on TV, we're not on TV that often.
Yeah.
We don't do a video of us after the game, writing a recap.
Yep.
But it's, again, the voice. But it's just a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. I've missed it this year, but I did enjoy sitting there as a spectator watching the game. I'll admit that. But hopefully we're going to go back to it this year, at least at the home games anyway.
I know you've crossed paths with somebody I've had in here a couple times, Mike Lynch. We usually have him on for the Thanksgiving show, and he's been great with us about that. One thing he always says that always sticks with me about high school sports is it's the last time you play just for the love of the game for your community. When you go into college, there's other stuff attached. There's other, and this is the last time, which is what makes it so great.
It's funny. I talked to Mike during the one of the tournaments this year, golf tournaments. I think it was the Sean Perkins tournament, and we got talking. And I said, I enjoyed all your specials, but one thing I always remember was the first year the Celtics and Bruins didn't make the playoffs the same year.
Right.
You took your crew out to the Garden and took a picture of the Garden empty, and you played Sounds of Silence.
Oh,
and I said to him, I thought for sure that the year the first year we had the COVID, there's no high school games for Thanksgiving. I thought you'd go around the stadium and do this. And he said, damn it, I would have if I had realized it. He said, I didn't even think of it. He said, that would have been a great idea.
That would have been a good idea.
And then he also did a thing last year. I don't know if you saw the one they did on the national anthem. They had the music group from Ipswich High School. I think it was 100 people in the band.
Oh, I don't
they
think I
did
saw
each
that,
one of them individually, and they played the national anthem. And it was, what a great job they did for that.
Oh, that's cool.
And I complimented him on that. But that's what he does so much for kids too. I've always enjoyed him.
Did you know his dad? I bet you knew his dad, right?
I knew him just not as well. I actually coached against his dad.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we played CYO basketball, and his team was undefeated. I think it was St. John's, the Swamps, he was coach at the time. It was a CYO tournament, and I was coaching. And we had 8-0. I said, I really felt pretty good about this. He called a timeout. Next thing you know, it's 20-8 their way. One timeout, it changed the whole thing.
Good adjustments, huh?
Yeah. So, I mean, that was fun. But, I've always enjoyed talking with Lynchy. And we stayed at the same hotel one time during spring training. And so my wife and I were on the elevator to come down the stairs. And he gets on, but she pokes me in the and says, "That's Mike Lynch." I looked at him and said, "No kidding."
I mean, he was crazy big. He had the commercials and he was like
no socks. He never has any socks on.
That's true.
But he's supposed to keep your socks on. That's why we went to work. No,
his dad was the AD before my time, but in my hometown of Denver, essentially. For many years. And I think it was from Swampscott, right? But
yes, they're from Swampscott. But he was supposed to come down one year during the hockey tournament. Mike came down because his nephew was playing.
Oh, okay.
But his father wasn't feeling that because he was going to meet with Jim Stalin because they were pretty good friendly. But I remember when Lynchy's nephew was the goalie for Marblehead and he won the Newburyport Bank hockey tournament, he was the MVP.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So they gave him the trophy. And he dropped it on the ice in a smash.
It smashed?
And I said that to Lynch. We got him a new one. And Lynchy says, Butterfingers. I said, he's a goalie. We're supposed to hold on to these things. But it was funny. He chuckled at that because he couldn't see the final because he had to go down to Florida.
Oh, that is funny. How is Jim doing? Have you talked to him?
I haven't seen Jim for a while, but everybody I've talked to said he's doing good. And I know he gets together on a regular basis with some of the guys every year. Sometimes it's on a monthly basis.
Cool.
But great guy. Mr. Class all the way.
Oh, he so is. Every time, I'm sure, I mean, you know this better than I do, but every time I've had him in, again, usually it's around coming up on Thanksgiving, I like to have him in. And every time I've had him in, it is amazing to me. I can't remember what I had for breakfast today. He remembers names. He remembers plays. It's amazing to me.
It is. It's just like that. And he's so thoughtful. I know certain things happened to me one time, with the field dedication, things like always a handwritten note, always send a little note, congratulations, Jim and Bev or something like that. But they're always just thoughtful guy, just class.
Yeah.
I always, when I think of Jim Stalin, I think of class, and it's always how it's going to be.
Yeah, that's well said. One thing I got to mention too, I'd mentioned to you, I know before we started here, shout out to a guy you and I both know, Johnny Miller, took a fall at the Red Sox game. He covers the Red Sox for WBZ Radio in Boston, and Johnny took a fall at the game the other night. Went into the hospital. Apparently now there's a COVID issue. He's doing fine, but I just wanted to, whenever people don't hear Johnny Miller asking that first question at the Red Sox game, I know they're wondering, where's Johnny? What happened to Johnny? He's going to be all right.
Well, give him my best. I didn't get a chance to see him this year during spring training. It was kind of a weird time down there. But I think the last time, it was a couple of years ago, I remember seeing Johnny. At that time, he was walking with two canes hunched over, and he was going to go from one field to the other. And as I went out, I saw one of the guys driving a car around. I said, "Hey, I just pulled him over. I said, will you do me a favor? Go, you know Johnny Miller?" "So I know Johnny." He said, "Well, he's walking over to the next field. Can you go give him a ride?" He went and got him in the cart, gave him a ride over, and it was good. But,
nice.
But it would have been a long walk, but he's amazing. Great man. He just loves the game, does a great job doing it, and I've had a lot of good times with Johnny.
I asked him opening day, if it was some big number, 40 whatever opening days in a row. And he was saying, yeah, it goes all the way back to, and I asked him what his favorite one was. He said, I remember going with my grandfather when I was like 7. My feet were cold, but I loved it. Yeah. That's all he said.
The first game I ever went to, my dad took me, and it was when Mickey Mantle got thrown out of the game in the first inning for arguing. 3 called strikes, took 3 strikes down the middle, boom, 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 argued like mad.
Oh, wow.
And he deliberately wanted to get thrown out. And I didn't realize till when he died, they talked about how he was an alcoholic. And I didn't know that. Oh. And he had some drinking problems. And that day he was just hungover, didn't want to play.
Wow.
And that was the first game I went to. And
Fenway,
as I walked,
just right at Fenway Park.
Right at Fenway Park. Yeah. And as we walked up the ramp, the first player I saw was Yogi Berra. And I said, boy, he's not too big. But, on TV, they look big. But he's, he was a short, squatty guy. But what a great catcher he was. Yeah. But Yogi Berra was the first player I saw. And the Yankees was the first game I saw. Red Sox Yankees. We parked at Sears Roebuck parking lot, and we walked over to the stadium from there.
What a memory, man. Mickey Mantle takes 3 and gets tossed.
Yeah, I remember that. And then, like I said, I didn't even realize the drinking until I read afterwards. He did have a little bit of drinking problem. Yeah. He was a ball player, too.
So day game probably after a night game or something?
Could be. I don't know what it was before, but I know it was my first game. In fact, I think it might have been right around Mother's Day. We got the tickets for it. It might even have been Mother's Day. I'm not sure.
Huh. Did you ever get to see Mickey again?
Oh, yeah. I've saw him
many times,
yeah. I saw many Red Sox games. Because I remember... the great catch that Al Luplow made in falling over into the bullpen and the Red Sox off of Dick Williams.
Oh, yeah.
I was at that one. Because the World Series games and anyone's at World Series, I did have tickets for the World Series games through our friend Bob Fuller. Bob was always good. Made sure I got tickets for those games. And so it's been a thrill. I saw Ted Williams and Vic Wirtz both at Grand Slams in the same game.
Wow.
You talk about different... I get all excited about this, No, it's I've seen a lot of times, between football, basketball, hockey, baseball. I've seen a lot of good games, all the playoff games with Patriots. I've been to 3 Super Bowls. So I've had my.
You've been to 3 Super Bowls?
Yeah,
wow.
I've been to 3. Actually, went down to 4. I went down to 4. The one I didn't get was when they played Green Bay, and I took my kids with me. Yeah, but what happened was I thought because the first time I went, they were selling tickets right at the game time.
Right.
So at face value, and that time they were only like $75.
Yeah.
So when I played Green Bay, the tickets were $225, and I brought my 2 kids with me, my 2 oldest boys, and I said, we'll be able to buy tickets. Well, at kickoff time, they were turning down $1,250 a ticket.
Really?
They're turning that down.
Wow.
So we ended up just watching it in a pub, and 60 people.
Let's pause 1 second, Richie. This is a EAS thing that's going to go over.
All right.
We'll pick it up. I think so. Sometimes they kick back in. All right, sorry. It's okay. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow, so turning down $12.50.
Turned down $12.50 game time, so we ended up going to a pub and watching the game there, and there were like 60,
where was that one again?
People. It was in New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah.
It was put in 95, I guess, against Green Bay.
Yeah.
And they lost the game, and that's when they complained.
Brett Favre
and I was at Desmond Howard ran back to kickoff to beat him.
Yeah.
And they were complaining because Troy Brown or somebody didn't play defense that time. He's usually on the special teams.
Right.
And he wasn't there. And basically he ran back to kickoff to beat him. Yeah. But what I was saying was interesting. Out of the 60 people, only 10 of us were Patriots fans. The rest were Green Bay, and they're great fans.
Green Bay, yeah.
So we'd switch drinks and food back and forth. We'd buy something, we'd send it around. When you look at other fans, the Eagles fans were horrendous. And the Patriots fans, as a result, were just as gross. So it was no fun at that game.
Yeah.
The Panthers people were really good.
Yeah.
In fact, they had the sign, "Go Panthers." So they asked a couple of us if we'd get in the picture with them as Patriots fans. And well, you want to do that? I said, wait a minute. I said, we will if you do one, because the Panthers, you can spell Pats. I said, if you do one that says Go Pats, and we'll do it. She says, okay. So we did the Go Panthers, then we did the Go Pats, so we got everybody in it. Both, and that was a good group, too, passing food back and forth.
It was a great game, too.
But like I say, Philly was not a fun one. And I did get to one other one in Houston.
See Tom Brady today?
I didn't see today what he did.
He has signed on with Fox Sports for his post-playing career, whenever that is. It's a date to be named later, and he will be the lead football color analyst.
Interesting.
So,
yeah, that's good for him to keep it in. I don't know what
he's a businessman.
Giselle will say about that, but
well,
you know what's funny, because I don't know if you saw the story about the fact that they had already worked a deal before Flores got into his
saw that,
thing.
yeah.
But it was going to be He was
Sean
going to get
Payton,
traded to Miami for a second-round draft pick,
Yep.
and Sean Payton was going to go there for a first-round pick, and the two of them are going to go with Miami next year.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see him play for Miami next year anyway, because he's out of his contract with Tampa after this year.
Yeah, and,
And
Peyton's taking a year off, so.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. And especially he bought that big mansion down in Miami.
Yeah. I didn't realize I mean, maybe he just respects him as a coach. I don't think he and Peyton have too much
No, I
of a
don't think they
relationship,
do there.
right?
I don't think they have the relationship, but
Yeah.
I'm sure they will.
I'm sure
But
they will, yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know what's going to happen this year with Gronk. He hasn't really decided what he's going to do, but he always said, I only want to go where Brady goes.
It's true. It is true.
Do you see the one about Brady talking about, he's just between us, I think that was a fumble when he talked about the opening game. Josh, some people got offended by that.
I know.
He's
joking.
He likes to joke around.
Yeah. It's funny because that fumble, whatever you want, the tuck rule. I remember my parents, we went up to the White Mountains. We were staying just a night away.
Yeah.
It was a snowstorm, obviously, here. And we was like, you know what? Be nice. Let's get a night away as a family.
Yeah.
I was young. I remember not wanting to go. I was like, I don't want to drive up there. Just like, what's there for me? I don't feel like skiing, like a jacuzzi. And it was beautiful. The jacuzzi was outside. I remember snow over the White Mountains, and I'm watching the Tuck Rule game, and I'll never forget being there in the White Mountains, watching that with my dad.
Well, I was at the game.
You were at the game. There you go.
Yeah, well, I've had season tickets since 1968.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
I always
was
forget
there with
this
my
stuff,
boys,
yeah.
and we got up as soon as the fumble. I said to my friend who was sitting next to me, Pat. I said, Pat, I'll see you next year.
Yeah.
We get up and started shuffling out, and all of a sudden they said the play is under review. Boom, we backed up to our seats and sat down and stayed for the rest of the game, and thank God we did. And the kick that Vinatieri made to tie the game, you couldn't even see it in the snow.
Incredible, yeah.
And then even the game winner was the opposite end of the field, a little bit clearer, but it was just fantastic. So, I mean, there's a lot of good memories.
So what was because for some reason, I mean, I know they had replay, obviously, because they reviewed it. It didn't seem to me like, as I think back about it, maybe I just remember it differently because I was young, but I didn't feel like replay played as much of a role then as it does now. Like, I remember thinking, like, that's a fumble, and it didn't ever really cross my mind that they were going to review it and possibly overturn it.
Well, the interpretation, I guess, was the fact that his hand did start a little bit emotional. It didn't look like it there, but because he had started it and lost the ball, they called it.
And it became after that, it became such a thing that every time that happens now, everybody goes, "Oh, could he be going forward?"
Well, they changed the rule after that. A little bit,
Gotta have
well,
that
at the same time, though, I mean, it was kind of even because don't forget when they lost the playoff game to Oakland in '76 with Sugar Bear Hamilton, they called some phantom foul on him, and then Oakland scored the touchdown to beat him. So that was kind of revenge.
Oh,
It was
a little
against
Oakland revenge?
So it was even, so it worked out. So they got even there.
All right, but you started to leave. That's hilarious.
Yeah, we did. Well, I thought it was over. I thought when he called the fumble, it was less than a minute to go, I think.
Yeah.
So we started to get up. I said bye to Pat, and we started to shuffle out, and then we did the Patriot shuffle back in.
Right back
seat.
in.
Yeah.
That place must have been. Was that one of the biggest, craziest atmospheres
it was.
after that victory?
And we come out afterwards, and the parking lot, every single car was just coated with snow. Every car looked white.
Yeah.
You try finding your car like that, rushing all. Oh, nah, that's not my car.
It must have been full-fledged party mode at that point, though.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. I think we all enjoyed that. So, I mean, a lot of good memories there. Some games you lost, you didn't like. All sports, you're not always going to be winners, but those good memories.
What is the routine there for a Patriots game? Do you let's call it a 1:00 game?
All right, we go with my three sons and myself, and we'll leave the house at around 7:30.
Okay.
Get there when the gates are supposed to open at 9:00.
Okay.
So you want to be there by 10 minutes to 9 to get in.
Okay.
Because I have a handicap pass because of my back and my legs.
So you literally first one in.
Well, we're supposed to be, but
Almost, yeah.
I didn't realize that handicap can get in a half hour earlier. We always wait until 9:00. So when we get there at 9:00, sometimes all the handicap spots are gone, and you can't stay in that first parking lot because that's where all the suite holders are. So you have to go out to another lot. Then I found out because of the handicap, we can get in at 8:30. So now we usually get our regular spot all the time, and we'll tailgate. If it's cold, we'll put the tent up. We get heaters. We take the jackets off with the heaters, and always going to do some cooking. If it's
who's
in
the grill? Is it you?
Both boys. No, I don't do it. One of mine is a chef, so he will do it. If we do any stews or chowders or stuff, he'll make that at home, and then we'll just heat it up.
Okay.
But Scott will do most of it. But outside Tim, we do it ahead of time. And he'll do a chili that's just unbelievable. And we'll have the tent closed. And people will walk by, and they can smell it from outside. We just want to take a whiff of that, But if it's cold, we'll put the heaters on. If not, we'll just stay under there.
And that's the routine.
And so we usually go in the stadium. And for 1:00 game, we'll go in. We'll start leaving around 12:15. So we get in. We thought last year would be longer because of the COVID that takes so long getting through.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty smooth. They had a better system set up. We walked in. And then now I can take the elevator up, started walking up those 13 ramps, which makes a big difference.
Yeah, you like that place? I know, because you got to experience the old building, too. So.
I've done the old. Yeah, actually, I started, I saw 2 games at Fenway Park before I had season tickets. And then once I started in Harvard with my regular tickets, I also saw a game at BC when the stands got on fire.
Oh, wow.
So I've been to all different ones, but in the old stadium, even the old stadium, it was. I was just glad we had a place to be. I was there opening it when we had that big traffic jam.
Right, yeah.
We lucked out because we came by bus. We didn't get there about halfway through the first period, but they had to park us on 95.
Yeah.
On Route 1. So we come right out. We drove home. We were home in no time because we didn't have to get in the park. They didn't even move in the parking lot. So they parked us on Route 1 right in front of the stadium.
That is the one thing you can never get around there is that traffic.
I wish they had
it's a
another
hard
road.
ride, isn't it?
It is. It's tough.
I don't know how they would ever build another road, but man, there's got to be something. I don't know.
But we do 495. We found out 495 is quicker. It's longer, but at the same time, it works out quicker because of the traffic. You get the 495 quicker.
Well, at least you get to get going earlier because you're trying to get in there by 9. Like if you, I always think like I go to a lot of concerts in Mansfield or even Foxborough sometimes, but Mansfield's pretty much the same ride, and it's like that time you add concert traffic to what is already a drive commute, a PM drive commute, and it's just a hard ride,
Yeah, it's funny you talk about the commute. Pat Riley, who sits next to me, he lives in Webster. So at the time they're talking about they might go to
not the
Connecticut.
heat coach.
Right, yeah, right. But he was talking about, he said, didn't make it, I'm halfway to between the Hartford and between Foxborough. So either way, it would be the same distance we traveling. So he didn't care which way they went. As it was now, he works, he actually works at Mohegan Sun. He's a technician on the machines and stuff like that, security of machines he works on there.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's an interesting job,
He's a nice guy. He sat behind me in the old stadium. And then he sat next to me in the new stadium, so he's had tickets for quite a while.
Is there a little piece that you miss about Sullivan Stadium, or is it really just much better at Gillette?
No, this is just a lot better.
Better facility, yeah.
Better facility, and they're putting more into it now. I can't wait to see the new scoreboard.
Yeah,
and they're putting more stuff into it. So.
Do you feel that way about the Garden? Because I know my dad misses the old Garden.
I like the old Garden. Okay. I agree with you there. Yeah. The new Garden, I was there opening night for that, and in fact, the first official event they had was WrestleMania. And because my younger son, a big wrestling fan, so we had tickets for that.
Yeah.
So WrestleMania, but the opening night, spectacular there. We had nice seats at the balcony for the front row balcony.
What do you think it is about the old Garden that had such a? Because it wasn't a pretty building. I mean,
the smell.
Yeah, people miss that stuff,
and the floors were all sticky all the time.
Yeah.
It was just something that was quaint.
It's definitely a home
advantage. A little bit like
Fenway,
certain like the views of Fenway, sitting in Wrigley Field. I felt like I was at Fenway the one time I went to Wrigley Field.
Yeah,
that was the thing. You talk about Wrigley Field. This is probably my sports fantasy of the weekend of the year of my life. I was at Thursday night for Red Sox game at Fenway. Friday afternoon with Wrigley Field to watch the Cubs play, and then Saturday afternoon saw Notre Dame play.
Oh wow!
Notre Dame. 3 days in a row.
Is that your college team too, Notre Dame?
No, I like Notre Dame. It's tough when Notre Dame plays BC. I would never go. I go to a Notre Dame BC game at home, and I root for BC there.
Gotcha.
I couldn't go to Notre Dame and root for BC against Notre Dame out at Notre Dame, so I wouldn't go there for that.
Gotcha.
I'm Bentley. Bentley was my school, and speaking of Bentley, a nice article on Bob DeFelice. He just retired after. I think he coached baseball for the entire history of Bentley baseball, and he was their second AD, just retired from AD a couple of years ago. But 80 years old, they dedicated the baseball field to him, and he just coached his last baseball game this year, so we did a view of that. But he's I remember he coached Winthrop for a while when he played Newburyport, and he had a very successful winning football team there as well. He's a good guy. So he's retired. He was only the second AD Bentley ever had. Al Shields was first, and then him. So it's been a long time, just those two guys.
That was Bryant guy. Those were technically the rivals back in the day.
Yeah,
Bentley
Bryant.
Bryant had a nice little basketball.
That was a nice league. Bryant's gone Division I now.
Yeah,
Bentley hasn't even made that yet.
Bryant was going D1. So I'm 35. So 14 years out of college, and that change was happening right as I was leaving, and I remember them saying, when you guys are adults and starting families and stuff. We're gonna see us on ESPN and in possibly in March Madness. And it's funny how that they went to the dance this year.
Yeah. And then you got Merrimack. They also went in low. They're Division I in hockey, which
there's so much talent too. Like some of these teams, like people don't realize how much talent is in some of these smaller colleges. I mean, you see some of these guys make runs at the pros every now and then, and but I mean, even I feel like kids are picking some of the smaller schools now because they know it's not like the olden days when it was just Notre Dame on TV or whatever. Like there's TV contracts everywhere, and everybody.
And now you got all the leagues, different have conferences, so all their games are on.
Yep.
Speaking of local guys, look at Connaughton from Milwaukee.
Great player, huh?
Yeah, and he also played Major League Baseball.
That's right.
He's a pitcher.
Did you know him pretty well when he was here?
No, I didn't know him personally because he didn't play against Newburyport, but I followed him. I remember when he played and everything else. He was a good athlete. I always remember the name.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I don't know why I didn't realize it was St. John's, though. I thought he played for another school.
Yeah.
But anyway, I knew he was a good athlete.
I know Jeff Goodman, who's a big college basketball guy, and he's from Newburyport. I know he knows him pretty well. He knows all those kids as they're coming up, and he always said he was one of the real ones, good kid. And
I like reading his article. He does a good job in
Jeff.
The kids.
I agree. Yeah, he does, and he's nice enough to come on here sometimes too. But Connaughton's a great player. They're going to finish the series off, you think?
Well, I'll tell you, last night it was
looked good, didn't they?
Every time I was kind of stayed away from the game. Every time I watched the game, if the Celtics were close, all of a sudden they get down by 10 points. I changed the station to go back. They were winning by 1. So I didn't watch the last 10 minutes. Honest. I just kept checking the score, and that was it. Because when I watched, all of a sudden, boom, a 3-pointer of Milwaukee. So I said, much as I want to watch it, I'm not going to watch it. And they end up winning it. It's great. But what a game Horford had.
It's unbelievable. Giving hope to 35-year-olds everywhere for their basketball career. That's what I was joking around with my wife. Amazing game. I've always been a fan of his. I like how he just goes about his business. I was disappointed
when he left the first time.
Yeah, me too.
But the fact they got him back was
I think
nice.
he was disappointed when he left the first time.
Yeah.
Never seemed happy in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah. Well,
this is I would say so. It's 2-2 in both of those series now. We got game 5s tonight for the Bruins and then the Celtics tomorrow. It's I always say this is one of the most exciting times of the year. Weather's getting warmer. Playoffs are happening. I don't know. I always love it, don't you?
Well, especially now, the way the Red Sox are playing so bad, it's nice to have the Celtics and Bruins playing well. Because if they were down, it'd be a long summer.
And I'm down on the Red Sox too, right? But I love baseball. You'll never get me not to watch. I just love the game.
I'll still watch the games, I don't go in as much now because it's so much easier watching it on TV. It's a hassle getting in a Fenway. And, the older I get, the more complacent I was getting in. I'd rather watch it on TV.
I went to the day game during school vacation week they had. It was a packed Fenway. And it was everything. It was all the hassle you remember. It was all there. But I hadn't been during the pandemic. It was the first year I hadn't gone to a Red Sox game was the pandemic. And I didn't realize how much I genuinely missed it. Everything about it. Walking into the stadium, walking in through Kenmore, popping into my buddy's bar, saying hello. Everything about it. I missed the whole experience.
It was true. I agree with you. To me, with spring training, the first thing we did, we went around and saw the 4 ushers that we always talk to. And the guy that does the raffle, the Red Sox raffle for Ted Williams Museum, he's also at Fenway. He's from New Hampshire. So we always go talk to him and everything else. So once we saw everybody, we knew everybody was back healthy. We felt good about that. But I enjoy it. I look forward to the summer, spring training. And like I said, this year I was disappointed, but it was just so darn hot. I just couldn't take it.
That's true. I know. And pandemic-wise, you always help me out with this. We lost a lot of good people here during the last couple of years. What's that? What are the names in the Newburyport community that were kind of were a big loss?
Paul Coleman was the football coach and the AD for a while. Then he went over to Triton, but he coached with Jim Stalin for a long time. Boy, now you start talking about it. Gosh, there was so many. All of a sudden, every time you took in the paper, there was somebody different.
Too much, I know.
Some personal friends of mine that passed away, and but when I think of when you think of sports, right, I think of Paul Coleman. But now that you have to start thinking about who passed away, it's like who was it now?
Yeah.
But I remember sending out one time. I had 4 checks, donation, memorial donation, sending them out, boom, 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 this one, and wow, and
did all happen quickly, right?
Yeah, it just seemed like every time you took a paper, you looked, oh my gosh, he passed away or she passed away.
Picture that in every community too, right?
Yeah, it's been tough, but as long as I don't see my name there, I guess I'm happy.
We don't want to see that, absolutely. And we're coming out of this thing, right? So let's hope we're.
Well, I hope so. But now they're talking, it could be another stage coming up again, and they're talking about pretty soon they're going to hit the millionth death.
We did that, yeah. But you know what? But I do think vaccines are the game changer. So I mean, I know not everybody's doing it, but
that's what. And now they're talking about another vaccine coming because when we get our booster shot, I think they're talking about maybe combining the flu shot with a booster shot this
Yeah.
year. So that would be good because I've already had the booster. I was talking about my second booster I'm due for, but I don't know if I should wait to do that now or just wait and do the combination usually around September we get our flu shot. But I'll ask my doctor.
I don't play a doctor on TV, so I'm not going to lead you in that direction.
No, I got to see the doctor tomorrow anyway, so I'm going to talk to him. So.
Well, Richie Eaton, man, I always enjoy talking sports with you and just catching up in general. It has been far too long. It's good to have you back in the studio, man.
We're glad to be here.
If
If you get in a pinch, just give me a call. I'm not too far away. I can always fill in.
One of our go-to guests here, Richie. Come on now. Tell the family we hope you're doing well, and we'll see you around the community. It's good stuff.
Sounds great, Drew.
All right,
Good to
Richie
see ya.
Eaton, everybody. Hope you enjoyed catching up with Richie. My name is Drew. Sarah Blackstone producing the show today. Doing a great job, as always. My name is Drew Moholland, live at Drew's house. Be good, everybody. Peace.